Hey guys, Jakruna here, and I just want to go really quick over the cards that have been spoiled so far for the upcoming expansion, the Grand Tournament. I've been really busy lately, so that's why I haven't been uploading any videos. But as soon as I'm done with all my exams and stuff like that, then I will be back to making a lot of videos. But anyways, that's enough of that. Let's just go over these awesome cards. All right, this card is maybe not so awesome. 9 mana, 9/7 battle cry, deal 4 damage. So it's a huge fire elemental, um, and it's not going to be very good. But they need to make some cards that are not very good either, and it's an interesting option, I guess. That's never going to see play in constructed, but it could be really good in arena. It's good to have these kind of options. So let's see. The next card is the Jessica Trueheart. Okay, this is a really complicated one because it replaces your hero power with another one, and there are 9 hero powers because there are 9 classes, and this is essentially doubles it if it's possible. In mage will become 2 damage, and druid will become 2 damage to armor. Warrior will become 4 damage, and priest will become 4 heal, and hunter will only become 3 damage because they really want it to go into a control meta this time. So yeah, and then shaman is you decide which totem you get, which doesn't seem too great. Though you can get multiple of the same totem, which is pretty cool, and you I guess you can have up to 7 of your hero power totems. Well, I'm not sure about that. And then the Warlock hero power makes it so that you don't take damage when you draw a card. So that doesn't seem too exciting. I think it will be best in Control Warrior, but it's only really if you need that much armor. Maybe if games really often go to fatigue, then armor becomes a little bit more value as well. And I really think the meta will shift into more control, which will essentially mean that mill is going to ruin everything. But so that will be interesting, I guess. Anyways, on to the next card. The Trueheart is really cool. This one, the Poison Blade, is super bad. But I guess they were thinking that, well, guys, we are making Rogue kind of bad here because Rogue is the only class that doesn't really want to hero power every turn. So we need to give them some kind of way to deal with that. Although, if we get a more controlling meta, then one of the best decks will be Mill Rogue. So probably not so big of a problem. And Rogue always finds a way to do some crazy shit, I think. Anyways, let's take a look at this card. So this is a neutral, which is kind of weird because it makes a paladin hero power every time you use your own hero power. So that's kind of weird. And it's a fairly costed free for free with this ability. It's interesting. It's probably not going to see play in constructed, but it could be okay in arena. Let's see here. This one though is really cool. You can use your hero power twice a turn. It's okay as a 2 mana 2/3 if you're playing a control deck against a and I imagine you would play this in a control deck. Maybe you would play it in a face hunter deck on turn 6, just double hero power them. I don't know. Probably not. It's probably meant for control. Like most themes that would revolve you around using your hero power, that should probably be some kind of control or combo. So this is fine. Like, it has 2 free stats, which are totally fine for a really well costed for a 2-drop. And its ability is to use your hero power twice a turn. Still have to pay the mana, of course. So yeah, I think it could be a really cool card in control decks that try to have some good inspire mechanics in the decks, because it's cheap enough that you can probably play at the same time that you play your inspire creature, and then you can get double the inspire values. So that's pretty cool. And even if you're against some kind of aggro, then you can just 2-drop and it shouldn't be terrible because the stats are fine. So yeah, that's really cool. Then there's this card, and I'm really not sure how to value this. To be perfectly honest, each time you cast a spell this turn, add a random hunter card to your hand. Like my first thought would be that this is just shit. Like, I don't know. Like, it could be okay. It depends how much you can go off from the card itself on 10 mana. Like how likely are you actually to draw hunter spells that can keep you getting increasing value. So depending on how likely that is, it's going to determine how good this card is, I think. And maybe like the thing is there's so many. Often with spells they're really situational, so you want to use them at the right time, unless they're burn spells. But if you burn spells, would you really play a value card? Which this is kind of a value card, I think. But we will have to see. I can't really value this right now. Could be awesome, but I think it's not going to be too good. Now, this one, Maiden of the Lake. All right. So this card is interesting. Again, it has synergy with your hero power. It only costs 1. It's not going to reduce the cost by 1, so it's not like you can play 2 of these and have infinite hero powers. But it reduces it so it just costs 1. And that's interesting. I don't know how good it will be. Like a 2/6 for 4 is not great, but it's fair, I guess. It's good if you play it on turn 4 against a lot of 2-drops that die to it or something like that, or like a lot of 1 or 2 drops. But I don't know. Like the stats are not really that amazing, and the ability, I don't think it will be that good unless there might be some hero power combo decks that will use it, but that depends what cards will be released. If there's not if there's no hero power combo deck, then I don't think this will see play. All right, this one though is definitely going to see play. 5 mana, 4/5 for 5. Every time you use a hero power, add a random spell to your hand. If it goes to control matchups, and I definitely expect it to do that, this will be a sweet 5-drop. You can play it on 5, and it's not that great because it's a 4/5, and to be great, it would be a 5/5, but it's still possible to do that, and it's still something that your opponent will want to kill because, like, even if you're playing against some kind of aggro deck or something, like, let's just see that, oh shit, I need something on the board. You play this. It's not like your 5/5 for 5, but it's a 4/5, and it kills all their creatures still, so it's still fine, right? And they want to kill it more than they would want to kill something like a Loatheb, because of the possibility that on turn 6, you use your hero power and get, like, maybe you're playing Control Warrior and they have a board full of stuff, and they're afraid that you get, like, there are a lot of things you can get. You can get Consecrate, you can get Hellfire, you can maybe get Shadow Flame. If they don't kill it, then you can Shadow Flame this one, and you can get all sorts of, like, there are so many possibilities, and your opponent is going to be scared of those possibilities most likely. So, and also it's also a card that threatens to spiral out of control if you just don't deal with it. Like, even if I don't get that board swipe, maybe I just have a board swipe already, or I don't need it. I can stabilize still, and then maybe I accumulated 3 cards over 3 turns, or maybe with the other card we saw 2 cards in the same turn or something, and then when you finally stabilize, you have this huge card advantage. So it is something that your opponent needs to deal with unless they can kill you, and I think that's a really, really good thing. And also, it's something that helps very well in the control matchup. I think this card is sweet. Let's look at the next one. Kodaira Drake. The stats are really fine. So this is a type of card that if it's not in a combo deck, then it needs to have really good stats to be played. And this has okay stats, I think. There's already a 6/6 dragon, but it has a shit ability. So it doesn't see any play, even though there's the Blackwing Corruptor, which functions like a fire elemental if you have a dragon in your hand. This could definitely see play in a value mage deck that wants to use Blackwing Corruptors and wants a solid 6-mana dragon that can also spiral out of control, because this is a really good ability. Do not kid yourself on that, because if you play it on an empty board, maybe you can even set it up with like a Doomsayer, Frostnova Doomsayer, and then on turn 5, then turn 6 this. Your opponent has to play a pretty big minion for it to have a chance of surviving. And it can even combo with another card that we saw before, so you can deal a lot of damage. Like if it's on turn 7, you can deal with a normal hero power 3 damage. So it needs to at least be better than that. But then there are other cards that can maybe boost that damage. Maybe you played Jessica Trueheart earlier in the game where you have more mana. And so it can really spiral out of control. If you played a Jessica Trueheart earlier in the game, play this on an empty board, they can't deal with it. That's an immediate, like, you can distribute 10 damage for 10 mana in that case. That's really good. Like, what creatures can survive that? Not very many. And you can also just push for huge burst damage to the face. So this is a really, really, I think this is a really good card. This is just super solid, and it will see play in Mage. On to the next one. This one, So, in a meta that's probably going to shift to what control, this is maybe not the greatest. I already think control is the best, by the way. So people just don't know it yet. I'm playing a lot of control decks at the moment, and I have huge win rates with that. But anyways, so I definitely think the meta is going to shift because they're pushing control cards, and I already think control is the best. So this should probably make everyone else realize that it actually is the best and go with it. I definitely expect that. So this card, probably not the greatest. It's a 1-mana, 1/2, kind of like the Cockhammer. The Cockmaster, that gets +2/+0 if you have a mech. But in an aggressive deck, you probably don't really want to be hero powering turn 2. You want to keep developing your board. It's not like you throw down a mech and it immediately gets a buff. So you actually have to use your hero power for it to grow bigger. But then again, like, if you use your hero power, then it can trade with most 2-drops. It doesn't die to your opponent's hero power most of the time. Maybe it could be good in a class like Rogue, where you can use your hero power and get more value out of it than most other classes. I don't know. I don't think it will see a lot of play. Let's see. Frost Giant. Yeah, it's just an 8/8 for 10 minus how many times you use the hero power that game. I really don't think the Giants are that great. But then again, I'm kind of biased because I tend to play 2 BGH in all my decks. So yeah, these type of cards are never good against me, but they can be good, I guess. I really don't think this is any near as good as the other Giants, just because you can really abuse them much more, I think. But maybe not. Maybe it could be good. It really depends how the games look like. How many times do you hero power in a game? if you use your hero power 10 times, it costs 0. If you draw it, that's pretty good. But then again, if you have it early in the game, then you have to use your hero power a lot of times for you to actually be able to play it. I don't know. It has potential, but I don't think it's going to be that good. On to the next card. Sky Captain Crag. This actually has almost the same middle name as me. That's pretty cool. My name is also Crag. So now you know that. Anyways, this card has charge. That's pretty cool, man. And it costs 1 less for each friendly pirate. I assume each friendly pirate means each friendly pirate you have in play. But I don't know. It could also be for each pirate you have in your hand and card you have in play, which would make it a lot better. Because pirates are not really the most sturdy usually. But it's a cool card. I like it. The pirate deck might be good. Let's see. This card, oh my god, holy shit. It's a totem. And we already saw, some of the cards we're going to see have huge synergies with totems. This is 3/4 for 2 mana, though you pay the second mana or the third mana on your third turn, or the turn after you play it. So that makes it pretty bad to coin out, but not so bad on turn 2, as on turn 3 you can just play maybe another of these guys, or just hero power if you don't have 2-drop, or play another 2-drop. And it has really good stats. Like, it has 3-drops, some of the best 3-drop stats that we see on the Spider Tank and the Dark Cultist in for the Priest card, and that's pretty damn good. Like, I think this card is going to be pretty good, and I can see why they would go and print some really cool Shaman cards, because Shaman is probably by far the most least played race or class the past couple of seasons. So yeah, on to the next card. This card initially had me extremely excited because I thought that it summoned another copy of itself, which would be really, really good. But it doesn't summon another copy of itself. It summons a card with the same stats, but it's not this. It doesn't have the Inspire mechanic, so can't go completely out of control. Because the sixth thing is, if it actually duplicated itself, like Patron, then you would just 8-drop this in a control deck with your hero power. Maybe even have some way to hero power twice or something, and then you get like a board just from one card with decent stats. That would be insane, because then your opponent has to kill both to stop it from multiplicating itself just from a hero power. But unfortunately, that's not how it actually works. So it's not that good. But I think it's still decent. It could definitely be a solid card, because the one that doesn't create a 3/5, if it, like, assuming that you play it on turn 8, sometimes you can play it on turn 6, and it will have kind of like pseudo taunt, I guess, because it really threatens to spiral out of control. Getting a 3/5 from your hero power on top of the effect it already gives you is really sick. Another thing that I think is really interesting with all this hero power mechanics is Major Domo, Executus, and Jaraxxus, which give you insane hero powers. So we could definitely see some play on Major Domo, I think, especially. Just in Mage, maybe with the Kaldara Drake, and something to make it cheaper. You have the Ragnaros, and then you just spam random 8 damage until they're dead. Like, that could be pretty cool. I think decks like that will definitely be interesting, and they will pop up. Effigy. Oh my god, this card is insane. It's it's sick. Um, it will, if the meta really shifts towards control, then Grinder Mage will be one of the best control mage decks, and this fits right into it. It's unlike Duplicate, you get the value instantly, and it 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 awards you from playing really expensive shit like Major Domo. Like imagine if Major Domo dies and you have this in play, and then you get Ysera or something like that. That would be really hilarious. So yeah, this is a really cool deck. It works. It triggers all the same way as Duplicate. So imagine if you have this and Duplicate in play, and then play a Belcher. Like your opponent kills a Belcher, you get two more into your hand, and you get a random 5-drop, which probably have decent stats. 5-drops usually do. And you can even get a crazy 5-drop. Like there are some really crazy ones. Could potentially get the Earth Elemental, and if they don't have a PGH, then what are they gonna do? Like this card is really really sick, and it's going to be very good in the May control deck, unless people start putting double Kazan in all the decks, which they very well might. So we'll just see how that turns out. This is another cool mage card. Works with the Kaldara Drake, where you can spam a hero power. Hero power deals 1 extra damage. So you can really and they stack, and they also stack with the legendary that we saw earlier. So you could theoretically get your hero power up to 4 damage like that, I guess, and then just start obliterating stuff. That's pretty cool. Then and also yeah, it's a 2-drop with decent stats. Whoops. Oh shit. Sorry about that. Let's try to find the card we're at there. Okay. This is the next card. This card looks really solid too. Battlecry, summon any random totem. So with the totems, what we know at this point, we only know the one new one, which is the 3/4. So if it summons this, then that's huge. Like you get 2 free drops for free, and one of them is really good. I guess this would classify as a 2-drop in stats. So like you would get essentially 5 mana words of stats, and that and on one card, like so in 1 and 8, it's already insane. And then you can also get a Flame Tongue, or you can get a Manatite Totem. Manatite Totem of this looks sick. You get 2 bodies, which works really cool in Shaman because it has all sorts of synergies with having multiple bodies and upcoming totem synergies. This card looks really really good. On to the next one, Draenei Totem Carver. Battlecry, gain +1/+1 for each friendly totem. I think this is good. Frostwolf Grunt is already a fine card. I know top legend players who have experimented with them, playing these cards in mid-range Paladin when that was one of the dominant decks. And Frostwolf Grunt is definitely a playable card. Like if you don't have enough cards, you can put it into your deck and expect it to do fine. And that's a 5 mana, 4/4, get +1/+1 for each creature you control. And in Shaman, you're probably gonna have some totems in the best case scenario. And even if you don't have totems, it's a 4/4 for 4. That's acceptable. Maybe you can play the hero power in the same turn. It's a 5/5 for 4, which is really good. And it's not even that great to silence because it just becomes a 4/4. And if you have just a few totems, it gets pretty huge for 4 mana, which is really good. So yeah, I think this card is good. But Shaman might get so good cards in stats that they don't even really care, maybe. Like Shaman is kind of a class that gets a lot of good stats, so or like aggressively cast stats. So we'll see how it goes. This card give you totems +2 attack whenever you use a hero power. Alright, so like, I think this could be a good card. It's difficult to say at this point. It's yeah. I think this is a good card. It's a 3/6 for 5, which is not amazing stats, but it's not really terrible stats either. It's like water elemental stats, water elemental stats are good stats for 4-drop, so it's slightly bad for 5-drop, but not. It's okay. And the inspire mechanic is actually, I think, is really good. If you use your hero power, it also gets the buff after the totem is summoned. So, and like, getting a 2/2 for 2 is so much better than getting a 0/2 for 2. And you can maybe do some burst damage. It can be like a mini bloodlust maybe sometimes, or it can help your totems trade, but that would cost you 7 mana if you play it in the same turn. It's also something that your opponents can't really leave up, so they have to kill it. And that's where the 6 elf actually comes in to make his aces pretty good, because 6 elf is quite a lot to kill. So, and if it kind of has suited tone in that way, then that's pretty good. All right, Ball of Spiders. Summon free 1/1 web spinners. Sorry about that. All right. Well, it's going to give you 3 cards and an immediately free 1/1s on the board. If the meta really slows down, I don't really see it because it's random beasts. So you probably get some, yeah, like on average, you're going to get a beast card that you would never even put in your deck. So it's not going to be amazing. And there are better ways to get value, I think. So yeah, and 6 mana is too highly costed, but it's a cool card. Like, who doesn't love web spinners, right? All right, and those were all the cards. So without further ado, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.